Alright, thanks for joining me again. It's Lokazi. We are watching the round 2, or I guess round 1, game 2 of MMA versus EGIdrA here at MLG Columbus. This is the upper bracket, 2011. We have MMA spawning here on Metalopolis in the 12 o'clock position, and EGIdrA spawning in the close by air 3 o'clock position as the red Zerg. In the last game, EGIdrA called a GG, which kind of looked like it was like a I just rolled you GG, like bad manner, and then he left the game. And I think everyone will be questioning that decision for years to come, as he was pretty far ahead. MMA was down to his main and his natural almost mined out. He was long distance mining his third, and that was all he had. He had 20 Marines and 5 siege tanks. The Marines, there was 4 dealing damage in his natural, EGIdRA's natural, but they weren't going to kill anything. And then there was 8 back at MMA's main, and then 4 at MMA's natural. And that was really all of them. And then like 1 or 2 stray ones out on the field somewhere. The siege tanks were totally exposed with 16 mutas shooting them in the face, with I think only a missile turret, which was getting repaired by a few SCVs to guard them. So, really, and EGIdRA had 4 bases, two of which had not, I guess, full saturation, but they did have quite a few drones on them. He had like 70 drones compared to 50 SCVs, so literally ahead in every single aspect of the game, and he GG'd and left. So who knows why that was. And MMA looks like he is 2 racks pressuring. He's built his first barracks at the top of his hill. The second one he's built in this position so he can lift it off and place it down here for a shorter rush distance here versus EGIdRA. And EGIdRA has his overlord positioned. He hatched first. Looks like he like 15 hatched, and then he dropped his spawning pool, and then he is now droning up. And in the first game we saw a really good defense of a 1 racks, just like fake pressure with a bunker going down by EGIdRA with 6 drones. He actually picked off the Marine and then picked off the SCV as the second Marine was getting there. So if he does the same thing this time, it should be perfectly okay. Overlord kind of positioning itself up on top of the hill to get good vision. And again, looks like EGIdRA has pulled 6 drones, and they are versus 3 SCVs and 2 Marines though, so a little bit worse for the wear. Down to up to 8 drones now down at the natural. Popping out a queen here at the expansion. Some Zerglings coming out on the field. And it looks like he's going to try and go for a surround. He's going to pick off this SCV very handily. So there are 8 drones out here with 8 Zerglings versus 4 Marines and 2 SCVs. 5 Marines and 2 SCVs. It looks like he's going to go for the entire surround here. Drones surrounding that big group of Marines. They are getting picked off, and looks like all of them are going to die for minimal losses out of EGIdRA. It looks like he still has 8 drones, and he rebuilt a few Zerglings, but he's at, I think he lost maybe 1 or 2 Zerglings. And this barracks is on the low ground. It's lifting back into the natural, and 2 more barracks going up for MMA. It looks like he wants really, really strong pressure and is not going to let up. EGIdRA looks like he's going to go poke up the ramp to see what type of unit count EGIdRA or MMA has. He's going to see it is blocked off. Not even take any pot shots. Very, very good Zergling control there. It looks like these 5 Marines are going to move down and start working on these 6 Marines. Move down and start working on these Zerglings, who are going to have to run away. 2 of them dying for free. EGIdRA droning up behind this. It looks like he is producing 8 drones. That's a lot of drones. He probably needs to build some more Zerglings. There are 9 Marines on the field to 7 Zerglings. And this 4 racks might be pretty nasty here in just a minute. EGIdRA still droning. A spine crawler going down at his natural, but that's it. And there are 6 Zerglings on the field total to now 13 Marines. And EGIdRA had to see all those Marines out in the middle of the field, and he needs to start producing Zerglings. 6 more Zerglings coming out with metabolic boost. Might be able to hold this. If he pulls his entire drone line, he should be able to surround and kill all of these Marines. He might lose quite a few drones, of course, but you gotta pull what you gotta pull to stay alive. some drones coming out. Zerglings trying to go for this round. They are quickly ripped through, and EGIdrA GG's and leaves the game with 32 drones still alive. Probably should have pulled those. He floats into the main of MMA and sees that there was at least 3 racks up. Oh, he knows that there's a 4th rack over there, so he knows it was 4 racks. And that's one of the things that EGIdrA actually complains about a little bit. He said, well, one of the many things EGIdrA complains about a little bit is that behind a 2 racks pressure, you have no idea what the Terran is doing, says EGIdrA. He says, behind the 2 racks pressure, anything could be going down. It could be a fast expand, or a expand after that. It could be a 4 racks pressure, which in this case it is. And you need to prepare for all those situations, and EGIdrA looks like he just straight droned, instead of maybe throwing in an Overlord a little bit earlier to see what was going on. If he had thrown in a Overlord earlier, he could have had quite a few more Zerglings. About, we saw at least 2 drone pumps, up to I think 12 more drones. He could have had 24 more Zerglings, which would have put him at like 40 Zerglings versus 17 Marines, which is a much more even fight, with the 2 Queens backing him up, kind of poking away at it. But the series goes to MMA, which he will be moving into the round 2 of the championship bracket, or the winner's upper bracket, for MLG Columbus, which means he will be facing off against Lokazi, who just beat Dignitas Naniwa in the upper bracket. So that will be the next series. And in the lower bracket, Dignitas Naniwa and EGIdrA have now been knocked down into it, but they're not out of the tournament yet. These were their first defeats in a series, so they still have the lower bracket to crawl their way back up out of, which I believe has MC and Root Slush, I believe, in the lower bracket. So we'll have to see what happens down there. And I will be casting those games coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in and watching this MLG Columbus replay cast session by myself, Lokazi. See you again in a